This is your host, Brian Green, with a formal announcement. Many of you out there are watching this and are not subscribed. You haven't liked, you haven't made a comment to tell me that you're here, and that's okay. I really appreciate you watching. But if you could, help your boy out and take a moment right now to hit the subscribe button, to like this video, and to tell me that you're watching. I appreciate it, and enjoy the show with Ryan Kane.
Welcome back to another episode of the Pickle Pulse. I'm your host, Brian Green, and this morning we have an absolute treat. We have Ryan Kane from the Arlington Iron Paddles. Welcome to the house, dude.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes.
I like the setup.
So Ryan is, let's just go with, I'm just going to throw it out there and go, I wanted Ryan on because he is the most improved pickleballer, and I'm not going to give away many awards this year. This might only be my only 2023 award, but officially you are getting the Pickle Pulse Most Improved of 2023.
That is awesome.
And you're kicking the competition week in and week out.
I love it. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
So I've known Ryan for a couple of years now. I would say that we first played in a pop-up in Arlington, like 2021.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that about the time you started playing, somewhere in there?
So I started in 2020.
Okay.
I was a COVID student, if you will, of the game. Learned through my parents.
Do they still play?
And they still play. They learned how to play in 2017, but then like kind of stopped. And then once COVID came back around, they got back into it. And I have the same kind of story as most people.
Yeah.
Where, they were into it. They're like, you need to get out of the house. Like, you need to do something. So I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try, like once. And then everyone there was really welcoming. I didn't know what was going on. But I'm like pretty athletic. I figured I could figure it out. And I was hooked after like 2 or 3 times.
Oh, that's money.
Yeah.
What were you doing around the house? Were you like playing video games and like watching NFL football? Or
yeah, pretty much being a bum. I mean, because I was still in school at the time, but everything had gone to online.
Yeah.
So that was tough for me at the time. So anything to get me out of the house was good. And they recommended that. And I figured I'd give it a try. And
yeah.
Rest is history.
Well, let's talk about that for a second, because we haven't really gone that angle. But being in school and then all of a sudden, like you have your peers around you, you have your friends.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing you for the last couple of years, you probably were enjoying the social aspects of school.
Absolutely.
Not only the learning.
Yeah.
But then it shuts down, and like, how did that go?
Well, so it was interesting because around that time we had spring break. So we were in class like normally, and then they were like, okay, here's spring break. And then we never went back. So then my first time back on campus was for graduation.
Holy cow.
Yeah, so it was just like a big shock to the system, you know, like used to going to class and having this routine, and now I'm at home, just like everybody else. But, not being able to do much, being on campus and like playing basketball all the time, that's what I was doing.
Okay. You got to my next question is like, what sports were you playing? Were you in like club basketball?
Yeah, like club, like intramural, like nothing like too serious, but like something consistent where I was doing, open plays, open runs at the gym. And I had like a pretty good system going up until COVID. So then I didn't know what to do. So then that's where I found pickleball through my parents, like, I guess October, November of 2020.
Okay.
So
nice.
Yeah.
And they still play, and are they like what, like 3.5s, 4.0s, somewhere in there?
3.0s.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
I mean, like they take all the lessons. They play every day. They're actually down in Florida now.
They should be taking lessons from you. I mean, why spend?
Free of charge. Yeah. Free of charge for me. But so yeah, I mean, they're in Florida actually right now.
Okay.
Playing pickleball every day.
That's sick.
So they're really into it all the time, but they're like 3.0 level. And they're on the older side. They're both, my mom's 69, but my dad's mid 70s.
Okay.
So, and they're not exactly like super mobile.
Yeah.
So I mean, just the game itself for them is like 3.0 level, like, and they're not into the tournaments. They just like playing with the same people every day.
Well, they're the side of pickleball, I think, that most people are, where they love the social aspect of it.
Absolutely.
They love the bit of exercise that comes with it.
Right.
And it gets them out of the house.
Exactly. And they are competitive, but they're not competitive enough to spend the time and the money to want to go out to a local tournament and take the entire day.
Yeah.
They're early risers. So in the summer, they're out there at 6:30 in the morning playing until, 9 o'clock. Then once it's too warm, come home.
That's amazing.
And that's how they got me, because they would come home every day and we'd have lunch together and they would just talk about, how great the games were and like how great certain shots were. And I was like, oh, this sounds like something I could get into.
So you played basketball in college.
Yeah.
No tennis or paddle sports background. Most people are like, I played some ping pong. I was pretty good at it.
Right. I mean, like to someone who's good at ping pong, like I would never like disrespect them by saying I'm a ping pong player. You know what I mean?
That's fair. But I do know.
I mean, I had a ping pong table in my basement when I was younger. I played with my parents, but nothing serious, like very recreationally. Same with tennis. Like every now and then we'd go out on a Saturday morning and just hit the ball around, but nothing. Yeah. No, like serious racket experience before pickleball.
No, that makes sense. And I think I would say 50% of players, maybe even more than that, don't have that high level tennis. But if you have it, it's very helpful, as we all know.
Definitely. Yeah. We're seeing a lot of that now. Oh
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So I want to change gears for a second, because I wanted to find out kind of how you found pickleball and where it's going. But today is a special day, and it's one of the few days that I can talk about not pickleball.
Okay.
Because it's Championship Sunday.
That's right.
And,
yes.
And we have some serious games going on this afternoon. And
That's
I know that you are a big NFL fan.
I am.
You kill me in fantasy basically every year. I was just happy that I did not have to pay the consequences.
That's right.
This year was pretty serious. I was close. I finished 11th out of 12.
As long as you're not last.
Yes.
As long as you're not last,
I've
you're
learned.
in good shape.
So what are your take on the games today? We have, let's go, the Ravens are playing the Chiefs in the first game. And the Ravens are laying only 4.5.
4.5. Oof. See, I'm torn on that, because I really feel like this year, like the Ravens are a different team. Like I feel like this Lamar Jackson has shown throughout the year, like he's different. And the whole team in general is just like their defense has stepped up, and they've risen to the occasion every time they've played good teams.
Yeah,
and they're beating people up.
And their running game is unstoppable.
Unstoppable. And Lamar is a runner. That speaks for itself.
Yeah.
4.5. And the thing is, with Mahomes, like betting against Mahomes is like it's
tough, right?
a dumb thing to do. But I could see I could see them
covering.
covering. I could see them covering, but not winning. Like I could see them losing by a field goal.
Okay.
The Chiefs.
Wow.
Like, I could see the Ravens winning. I don't know, something like 27-24, something like that.
Okay. I like it. Early. This is what I was looking for. Early predictions we're putting on tape.
Yep. And then we cut this out once the Chiefs win by 20.
Well, I'm actually I have a little bit of a nut left in my my DraftKings account.
Oh, yeah.
After getting murdered a couple of weeks ago. So I'm going to put it all on the Ravens this morning, because I actually think the Ravens are going to cover.
You do 4.5.
Yeah, the Chiefs' defense is just not good against the run.
Yeah.
And if they can control the ball and control possession,
definitely,
I see them coming out ahead. And also, are the receivers going to show up, or are they going to drop passes? Because they've been dropping a shitload of passes in the big games.
Oh, big time. And they're dealing with injuries. I mean, like as any team is, but I think they've got a big issue with a lineman. They've got a lineman who's in trouble. Kadarius Toney's out, one of their receivers, which might be good.
I was going to say, he's got some brick hands at times.
But I don't know. I think the Ravens should win. Yeah. I would take just straight up. I would take the Ravens.
Man, I had to see what the money line bet is on that.
Oh,
that could be juicy.
It's going to be juiced. It's going to be 4.5 is going to be juiced.
Yeah, but I think it's like minus 180 or something.
So. Take the spread.
Okay. All right. And then the next game we have is the Detroit Lions playing the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers are laying 7 in this game.
Oh.
And the Detroit Lions, to me, are the story of the playoffs right now, of the year.
Oh, absolutely. I've talked to a bunch of people about it. Dan Campbell's the coach for the Lions, is the type of guy who you will run through a wall for. You know what I mean? Like he is that kind of guy who just galvanizes the troops. Like he's a leader of men. You know?
Yeah.
And like he's someone who's super easy to root for.
Did you see the Hard Knocks with him with the Detroit Lions like 2 years ago?
I didn't.
So they weren't great that year, but I earned a total respect for him because during the warm-ups when he's making the team do the up-downs,
oh yeah,
he does them with them.
Oh, that's great.
He does it.
Because he was a former player. He
That's
was
right,
a tight
linebacker or tight
end.
end.
Yeah, something like that.
He's a beast of a man.
Absolutely. And then he had that really famous, whatever, like introductory press conference where he's talking about biting people's kneecaps off and stuff like that. Like
Ferocious competitor.
Yeah, absolutely. So, but the 49ers, like they don't care for any of that. But 7 points is a lot, though. I would take the Lions. Plus, I'm rooting. Like that's a heart kind of bet. Like I'm going with my heart, not my head.
Yeah.
I think the Niners are definitely the better team.
Okay,
but I'm rooting for the Lions for sure.
I
would 7
agree.
is a lot.
I would agree, but the 7 number is scary to me.
It is,
and I want to bet on the 49ers. I think they're going to win.
Yeah,
they're getting Debo back today, which he changes the game,
changes everything. Absolutely,
I mean, he's beast mode, and he won me my fantasy league like 2 years ago. So he's the man. So yeah, I'm gonna go. That 7 number is
it's. I hate 7. Like if you gave me 6.5,
yeah,
all of a sudden I'm like a lot more confident about the 49ers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But I totally could see them winning by like 7 on the dot. You know what I mean, or by 6.
I could also see a total blowout on the 49er side as well.
Yeah.
Them going just monkey poo on them.
Absolutely. That's Vegas. Vegas knows more than we do, unfortunately.
That's why they have towers.
If I knew more than Vegas, I'd be in a different spot.
So I guess what I'll say is if I hit the first game and the Ravens cover, then I'm going to take the whole nut and I'm going to put it on the 49ers.
Yeah, putting all of it on the nut.
I'm just going favorites all day.
Just rolling with it.
Yeah.
I mean, throughout the season, they've both proven why they're favored by the amount that they're favored against really good teams. Yeah. You know? And if they go down, they go down. But, I mean, it seems like a safe bet to take the favorites.
Okay. So then we have 3 games of the NFL left, which leads to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Does that mean you are thinking it's going to be 49ers and Ravens Super Bowl?
I think so. I think everything is written on the wall. I think, the Ravens and Niners have both proven throughout the year, like, why they're the 2 best teams, and by, like, a considerable amount.
Yeah. And,
like we said already, it's tough to go against Mahomes, but, like, I just feel like the Ravens and at home, I just feel like, those are the 2 best teams. And then the Ravens beat the 49ers earlier this year, and they beat them good.
Yeah.
They slapped them something like more than 2 touchdowns, something like that.
I don't know much about the 49ers defense other than I'm pretty sure they're ferocious.
They're pretty
against
good.
The run.
They're good. They got a good D line. I mean, Nick Bosa, Dre Greenlaw, they've got a really good defensive line. They get a lot of pressure on the quarterback.
I'm actually rooting for that Super Bowl. I mean, it'd be really cool if the Lions were in, but I think the Ravens smack the Lions.
Well, and that's the thing. Earlier in the season, the Ravens played the Lions in Baltimore and won something like 41-6 or something.
Yeah.
Like it was. And that's the thing with the Ravens. They've proven time and time again throughout this season, they've steamrolled all the good teams that they've played. So that's why I think if it comes down to Ravens 49ers, I think the Ravens would take it again.
Nice.
Yeah.
So Ravens are going to come out on top, most likely, is what we're saying.
I would give them the favored odds on that. Yeah. Out of the 4 teams left, I'm taking the Ravens.
Yeah.
As much as it pains me. I'm a Bills fan. Okay. So, I hate that. And I hate the Chiefs, too. I wish they could tie.
Yeah.
I wish they could tie.
Well,
but
the funny thing is I just don't want to see the Chiefs go again this year. It's becoming more like a Patriots kind of dynasty thing going on.
That's right.
Which really talks to the NFL and how important the quarterback position is.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you see that at the end of the season, it's the best quarterbacks or the best systems that are in place. Like Brock Purdy's not the best quarterback, but the system they have in there, you could put a lot of decent quarterbacks in there and be good to go.
Well, isn't it funny, too, that in this NFL that's supposedly a passing league now, the 2 best running teams are on the top?
Yeah. I mean, it goes to show that, at the end of the day, what works is what works, regardless of where the trends are going. Even these new head coaches, it's like they all want to be next, the next offensive guru or whatever, But at the end of the day, sometimes defense is what does it, things like that. So
a lot of parity in the NFL.
That's right. But I would love to see the Chiefs lose too.
Yeah,
I think at this point, we all would.
Yeah,
for the same reasons you just mentioned. Enough's enough.
I would agree.
Down the line, we can appreciate greatness. We can look back and be like, that was a great run. But I'm ready for it to be over.
But I do love the parody of the NFL, so let's continue it at the end of the game, meaning at the Super Bowl.
That's right.
Not a lot of parody in the last couple of years there.
That's right.
So you heard it here first, peeps. Bet on the favorites and
take the Ravens.
The Ravens are going to go to the Super Bowl and win it all. So I'll release this in a couple of days. We'll see how right or wrong we are.
That's right. That's right.
All right. So back to pickleball.
Yeah.
You started 2023, in my opinion. I don't know what your Duper rating was, but do you know what it was in the beginning of 2023?
Oh, the beginning of last year.
Yeah.
I'd say it's around like a 4 or 5.
That's kind of where I was thinking,
4,
like
6,
4 or 5,
something like that. Yeah,
yep. Which is quality, awesome play. I mean, you're playing with some of the best players in the area.
Yeah,
you're
absolutely.
getting the ball. You're putting together points. You're not just trying to bang through people at 4 or 5.
That's right.
But something clicked this year, and you jumped from 4-5 to like 5-0 by summertime, and now I can't even get a point against you. As the last time we played at Chestnut Forks, he and Allison pickled us, and I walked away with my head between my tail.
Yeah. So I would say that's a fair assessment.
Yeah. And so, well, the question is, I have to imagine it was a very conscious decision that, look, I'm looking to get better. And did you put together like a formulaic type thing? Like, I'm going to drill this many times a week. I'm going to work on volleys up at the net. I'm going to work on, like, I know you incorporated a 2-hand backhand.
Right. I mean, so I've always had a 2-hand backhand. The way I hold my paddle actually is not conducive of a 1-hand backhand because I put my finger in the back.
Okay.
So, like, I can't generate power, like, with my like fingers in the back doing this, you know, like a lot of other people, the way they hold the paddle.
So you're holding the paddle and your right hand has the finger on the back of the paddle.
That's right.
Okay.
All the time.
Wow. So when you put a second hand on, what does that look like?
Doing this, and then my other finger's in the back. So when I'm doing a 2-hand backhand, 2 fingers.
Oh my God. So that's like almost not teachable.
It's unconventional.
It is.
That's why, like, when it comes to lessons or clinics, it's tough to like tell somebody like the like proper technique because like I don't look at myself as like a proper technique kind of player. Like I tell people, you know, I don't play the sexy game. You know, I'm not here to look good. I just want it to work.
Yeah.
Whatever works. Everyone's got different styles, you know, but I found that, like, for me, I always have the finger in the back. It's most comfortable. I feel like it gives me more control over the paddle. And then same deal with the 2-hand. I just feel like it's natural since I'm already doing this. When I go to grab it, just flicking that.
Yep. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So that is wild. So when I do my 2-hander, I'm holding down low, but then I kind of put right up in front of it. And then
I think that's like a more conventional way to hold the paddle. You know, like one here, and then
you have it here. But the funny thing is, like, I almost want to try your style and see what the next time I'm out and playing. I think part of getting better is you have to be open to trying a little bit of everything.
Absolutely.
And as much rec as I play, those are your opportunities to try new things.
That's right.
You don't go out to rec and go, I'm here to win every game, because you're not testing yourself.
That's right. And that's where I feel like, for me, the most improvement came. For me was just like, you know, you had asked me about like what my process was, like playing rec as much as possible. Like when I was at 4-5-ish level, like continuing to play, like I'm 27 and I'm single, so I've got like a lot of free time. You know what I mean? So after work, I'm going and playing, like going out to Walter Reed, going out to East Potomac in Washington, D.C., just going out to different places, playing where I can, and like trying to be the worst player on the court. Like looking for 3 players who are better than I am.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure.
And I found that like going through the ranks, that's what helped me the most. Was like, you know, and a lot of times, because the pickleball community can be really cliquey, like you get one chance. You know what I mean? You get your one shot at like showing up and playing against the Mike Strains of the world, the David McNally's of the world.
Yep.
And like, you know, I felt like in that one chance, I gotta prove myself. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So luckily, like as time's gone by, I felt like I've been able to do that. And
okay, well that actually leads to something else that I wanted to talk to you about, which is, you know, how do you handle the pressure of that? There's a lot of pressure of like knowing, because I've felt it before. I'm going to show up everybody that I'm going to play with today has a duper that's higher than mine.
Yeah.
All right. And I've heard of these guys and I know it, and I've got one chance. That
Right.
puts a shitload of pressure on you.
Oh, it's a lot of pressure. It is. I try to look at it as, in a way, it's like I have nothing to lose because I am where I am right now. And guess what? If they don't think I'm good enough, maybe I'll try again weeks from now or months from now. But like, I'm going to go down swinging. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to play this game and like, maybe I get humbled. Maybe I get my ass kicked. And that's a good, like, sign for me that like I'm not where I think I am, or I'm not where I want to be.
Correct.
So, you know, hopefully I get another opportunity against them somewhere down the line, but just, you know, trying to think of playing the game with nothing to lose, and I'm going to play like my game, and I'm going to see, you know, in this moment, is my style of play, like, is that good enough to play with this level of players, or is it not?
So that's a really good point, because I feel like a lot of times when I play with lower level people against me, or when I play with the much higher level guys, I'll get out of my game.
That's right.
And I try to do things that I think are more, you know, you're trying to paint lines and hit the sidelines, and you make a ton of mistakes.
Yeah.
And then it's over. It's really smart to just like come in and play your game.
That's right. And especially at the higher level, it comes to like consistency, whether it's rec, it's a tournament. To me, what separates like the 5-0s from the 4-5s and the 4-5s from the 4-0s is consistency and strategy. Like the way you're thinking about the game and the way you execute your shots. I mean, you know, it's easy to say, but there are a lot of players, especially around here in that 4-5, 5-0 plus range, when it comes down to consistency. Like, that's what will get you points, you know?
Well, and knowing your game too.
That's right.
So how much time did you spend actually watching games of yourself? Did you do any of the like evaluation type stuff?
Well, so for me, I like early on, I didn't, because I wasn't really doing tournaments. I wasn't taking it that seriously. Like when I was a 4-0, I was like, oh, this is fun. Like at the time, I thought I was like the best player in the area because I didn't know any better.
Yes.
You know, I don't know anybody.
I'm going pro next year.
Yeah, like, look out, world. Here I come. But then I'm like a 4-0 getting like bronze or silver in local 4-0s. And I'm like, yep, like these people are screwed. Like, look out. And it's like, you know, that's not the case. But no, I felt like for me, it was rec play. Like that's what I was doing.
Okay.
Like,
and so you were not watching a lot of video or any video?
No, because I wasn't recording myself at the time.
Okay.
And I feel like now I want to record myself as much as I can.
Yeah.
So when I'm playing in like the Frankie's events, shout out to Frank.
Yep. He's the man. Love you, Frank.
When I'm playing like tournaments, local tournaments, like I want to record the games so that now I can go back and watch what I did right, what I did wrong. And especially if I'm playing with like a set partner. So like when I'm playing mixed now, I'm playing with Allison.
Yeah.
Shout out Allison. We like to look at the film to see like what we can do better as a team. But when I was like that 4-0 level, like 4-5, like coming up through the ranks, I wasn't thinking about that aspect of the game. Like going back and watching, I just thought like, oh, you know, I'm better than these guys. I just didn't play like it today. Yeah. So I would just, okay, like next time I play them, I'll just be better. Yeah. And like in reality, that's not how it works, you know?
So I guess when I'm talking about video and the things that everyone needs to know, because I really want this to be something that people can watch and be like, all right, this is how I can analyze my game. Sure. And these are, maybe I can identify 1 or 2 or 3 things that I can work on this year to get me to the next level. Yeah. And I would say most people are not going to raise their duper a whole point in a year. Sure. So, you know, a good goal for me is 0.5. Okay. Yeah. You know, so I think how can I raise my level from 0.5? But the first part of it is understanding your own game. That's absolutely correct. So correct me if I'm wrong, because I've tried to analyze your game a little bit here. Okay. All right. Uh-oh. Yeah, no, I can put my foot in my mouth here, but we'll see. But I feel like you're not going to power through people. You're not hitting ferocious drives and trying to create chaos. You're playing a very traditional pickleball look. Yeah. And part of that for me is understanding that I don't have that piece to my game. Like I'm not powerful, like, and that's okay. So going onto a court in a tournament, like I'm not going to power through you.
You know what I mean? Like, you hit the piss out of the ball. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people hit the piss out of the ball. I just can't. Like, that's not something I have in my game. So I've come to the understanding of, you know, that's not my game, so I'm not going to try to do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that goes back to what we were saying about understanding your own game. Like, I've come to the point where that's just not my game, and I'm okay with that. I'm comfortable with that. And because I'm so confident with, like, the other side of my game, you know,
it's been so effective for you because, in my opinion, so a guy that likes to hit it hard and create the chaos, it has been my game forever and ever. Yeah. But I also think it's a bit of my detriment at this point because, you know, once you're playing the 5-0s, they're going to counter it as hard or put it in a spot that makes you uncomfortable, me uncomfortable. Sure. Right. So to play that traditional pickleball game so when I'm facing you, and I'm trying to light you up, and the ball is consistently coming back over, and you're resetting and resetting. It is the most demoralizing
and it's got to be frustrating.
Oh, yeah.
Because, like, you're playing your game.
That's right.
And, like, you know, for a lot of people at, like, whatever, the 4-0 level, 4-5, like, they're so used to that working. And, like, when I was playing at 4-0, 4-5 level, like, those things would work. Like, I could just, as long as I put my third in play, like, I'm in good shape. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I started, like, you got to start thinking about the game, like, not just the third shot. You're thinking about the fifth, like how we're executing the seventh, the ninth. Like, you got to think about the entire point, like, before it happens, you know? So yeah, I mean.
So the other thing I've noticed about your style of play is that the drop is the most important. The third and the fifth is so important because, let's be honest, if neither of those get down, you're in trouble probably. You're in a scramble.
Absolutely.
But at this point, like, when I play you, like, 95% of your thirds are hitting in the... I mean, I have to imagine you have drilled and drilled and drilled drops.
Well, I have.
Or is it just through play?
A lot of it for me has been through play. Okay. And, like, progressing through the different levels of play around here. Like, noticing that, you know, the drop works kind of well at this level, but not as well here, or some, you know, just different aspects of your game work better at different levels. And I found that if you want to keep, like, getting better, you have to be, like, a well-rounded player. Like, I don't, like we said, I'm not hitting the ball through anybody, but if there's a ball that's high and it needs to be driven, I'll drive the ball. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to take a ball up here and just dink it. You know, like, that's not the right play. Yeah, and sure. And you don't want to be a one-dimensional player either. So I feel like being a well-rounded player is important, but I do go drop first. Like, absolutely.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, if you have the mindset and the confidence that I'm going to get 95% of my drops in, and we can get to the kitchen line, and I'm not going to miss a dink for the most part, then you have a lot of confidence to wait and be patient. And it's what the top teams are doing. The J.W. Johnsons, the Dylan Frazier's, the Ben and the Collins.
That's right.
They're playing traditional pickleball.
Yeah, because they're so confident in their game at the kitchen that it's like, as long as we're putting our third in play, even if it is high, you know, as long as it's in play, we can scramble our way back up to the kitchen, you know? And for me, I just always learned how to play that way. Like, I don't like chaos. I'm trying to understand it more now because that's where the game's going. And, like, I have an appreciation for the players who do that, because if I want to keep getting better, I have to be comfortable playing that game too. Yeah. You know?
Well, the hardest players to play against, the guys that, like you, who play traditional pickleball, I feel like the only way, unless you can match up to them with their skill set of hitting drops in and then dinking until everyone is bored as hell, is the best way to do it, and you've seen it through Ben and Colin losing, is to come in and drive and crash and create chaos.
That's right.
But the percentages are much lower in that game.
It is. But, but, like, I mean, Ben and Colin are unique, but, like, if you try to go into a game against them, like, saying, oh, we're going to out-dink these guys at the kitchen, it's probably not going to work. You know, like, playing against those guys, it's probably just not going to work. So, you know, coming in with that mindset of we have to create chaos, and, like, it might still not work because you're playing Ben and Colin, but, like, at a local level and even at really high levels, chaos works. Yeah. And, like, I'm not, you know, I see it, you know, it works against me. And I'm trying to level my game up so that I can start creating chaos too, or at least handling the chaos and then bringing it back to my style of game.
Yeah.
You know?
So that's like kind of the next phase of getting between a 5-5 and a 6-0 is being able to create the chaos, being able to handle it.
Yeah. And I find that recently I've been playing more mixed, and for me that's really helped my game with the chaos, because I'm supposed to be the person
The alpha. You got to get alpha.
I got to be that guy who's creating the plays. And like, you know, whatever that looks like, I am that kind of kitchen player, that drop player, but at the higher levels, like that's not always going to work. And like the people who do create chaos, you know, it's effective against me because they're just willing to pull the trigger. And like, that's a skill in itself, you know, just being willing to pull that trigger and start the chaos and be ready for whatever happens next.
Yeah. So we played open yesterday down in Fredericksburg.
Okay.
Gage and I did.
Oh, nice.
And learned some things about my game for sure.
Sure.
Had to play Dave Richardson and like a young tennis player out of Mary Washington. I think that's what we were.
Okay.
Really nice kid.
UMW.
Yeah, UMW. And we ended up losing those guys. But then we went to the back draw, and the McNallys lost somehow. And so our first back draw match is David and Daniel. After they just lost, they're pissed.
Right. Yeah.
And to the point where like I'm trying to be like cordial with Daniel, and like he's just got this mug on. And oh man, I learned some things. So Gage and I are like, look, let's play our game. Try to get some drops in and play against them. But it was tough when you feel like here's a put away ball. You hit it. I was hitting it as hard as I could.
Yeah.
And Daniel's like resetting perfect
Just
winners.
putting the ball. Yeah.
Like perfect winners. And I was like, holy cow. And you get into that situation where you're like, well, what do I do? And that's the worst spot to be in.
And then you start questioning whether your game is working. So then that's what takes you out of your game, you know? Because then you're like, well, my drives are the best part of my game and they're not working right now. So now I need to try something else, but I'm not as comfortable with that. And like, as an opponent, that's exactly what I want you to think.
Yes,
you know,
that's it.
Like now I smell blood in the water.
That's
you know?
it. That is it. And well, the funny thing is I knew going into that game that my drives were not going to work against those two. I haven't played very much against Dan, but played David a bunch of times.
Sure.
And I'm not going to be able to drive through David. He's too good. And and I thought his brother actually had better hands than him in watching yesterday. I mean, like sick.
Yeah.
Both of them so good.
Yeah.
Mad respect for their game.
And they play really well together. Like that team chemistry. Like, I mean, they're brothers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like the team chemistry aspect really matters too, especially at a higher level. Like that can separate, you know, a really good team from a great team. It's just like that chemistry you have with one another, you know?
So I guess the thing I learned yesterday from playing against them and getting them walloped, they beat us 15-4.
Oh,
yeah, it's kind of rough.
Tough.
It's kind of rough.
Happens to all of us.
Yeah,
happens to all of us.
But you know what? I was happy to get the game in the end, to be honest, because it's not often I get to play against guys at that level.
Sure.
And you know what I learned is that I've just got to be more comfortable with getting in to the trenches and playing your style game. To hit drops, to get to the kitchen line, to be ready for the speed ups. Everybody also knows to hit at my shoulders. It's like, because I tell all my secrets on here, and plus if you play me, you know, it's just like, fuck. But yeah, I guess the end of it is I want to hit better drops. This year, I'm going to focus on the soft game a lot.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, like we said already, like being that well-rounded player is what takes anybody to that next level. And I feel the same way when we're talking about gender doubles, like this idea of like, of course we all have preferences as to left side or right side, but I feel like it's really important at the higher levels to be able to do both and be comfortable enough. You know, like, of course we all have the preference of one side or another because we're more comfortable, but not necessarily being like a deer in headlights if you have to throw me on the right. You know what I mean? Like being comfortable on the right, just to throw the other team a different look.
For sure.
Know? I feel like that's really important as like, you know, going through the ranks and leveling up is being able to be very comfortable on both sides and having like your whole arsenal of weapons on both sides.
Yeah. Well, G and I have played a bunch of 4-5 and had some success at that level. And one of the things that I think we did really well is exactly that. We're trying to give the other team a lot of different looks.
Yes.
So just changing randomly and unwinding the stack. And all of a sudden, because if they're trying to, hit to my backhand and isolate that, they can't do it all of a sudden because I'm moving around. They don't know where I'm going to be.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
No, I think that's really important. And I'm like a big fan of doing that. Like, and some people, it throws them off. But I'm like, look, if they just scored 3 points in a row and it's me on the left, like, I set my ego at the door. You know, I just want to win. If that means, and I tell my partners, like, who I haven't played with as much or haven't played with at all going into a tournament, I'm leaving my ego at the door. If that means you're hitting 90% of the balls or I'm hitting 90% of the balls, I just want to win. But I also just want to be comfortable on both sides of the court and, like, throw them different looks when we need to, you know, not be stubborn and like, oh, well, we just gave 3 points up in a row because they're pounding my backhand. I'll get them back the fourth time. Like, no, like, I'll put you on the left instead, and, like, let's try that instead.
Yeah,
you know?
It's a smart move.
Yeah.
It really is, and we found a lot of benefit in it at that level. I think as you go up and up, the teams are going to be in their game anyway,
Sure.
and there's not as much isolation when it comes to, like, a 5-5 plus game.
Sure.
Everybody's good.
Well, everybody's good, and everyone is trying to hit the right shot. You know what I mean? Like, the right shot looks different every point. Every time the paddle hits the ball, like, there's a different looking right shot. You know what I mean?
Well, no, and I think that's one of the magical things about pickleball is, like, as soon as you think you're good, you're going to meet someone better.
Yep.
And then the second thing is the chess match of the game.
Oh, absolutely.
It's because the ball's going to be in different places. It's a wiffle ball, so it does weird things at times.
That's right.
And so understanding what you need to do with each shot.
And like you said, like, all these different people have different abilities with that ball. You know, like, they can hit the ball in crazy ways. Like, I'm seeing people do this, like, do all these different types of things. And, like, I have a shot that's like this, like, it's unconventional, but, you know, unconventional works. Like, in at higher levels, like, you know, there is strategy, but you have to be able to, you know, incorporate those kind of different things.
Well, and you have guys that are set across the board or playing with you. So, like, I'm not going to play Dave McNally the same way I'm going to play Arpit.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right.
Because those guys have just two completely different games.
Absolutely. And I've seen a lot on Instagram recently, people talking about, you know, your opponent tells you everything you need to know. Like, you're going to have your strategy, but, like, you might have to adjust that strategy in the middle of a game, in the middle of a point, because they're showing you everything, whether it's where they hold their paddle or, like, you know, Arpit loves, like, walking around his backhand and going across court. You know what I mean? Like, doing some crazy shit with that. Like, you know, a lot of people will take a ball, two hands, and go down the line. Like everyone's got different strengths, but being able to, you know, just mix those things up. You know,
I think right on.
Yeah,
exactly. So this year is part of, you know, getting to the next level. I don't know, man. It looks like you've lost like 20, 30 pounds or so. I mean, you look really good.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
So is that like something you thought about, or is it just happened through I'm playing so much and I'm so active? Have you changed your eating? Like for the chubby guys out there in the world who have a wish to be skinny or a goal to be skinny, how did you go about doing this?
Well, for me, like, I was really playing 7 days a week.
Oh, wow.
Like I'm playing every day, you know, and like I had mentioned earlier, I have that ability because I'm single, 27, don't have to work on weekends or evenings, things like that. And I put pickleball first. Like, when I'm not working, that's what I put first. So I found that I'm being really active through pickleball, and, like, I feel like that's how I lost most of my weight. And I don't actually check my weight that often, because I don't want to have to worry about it. Yeah. But a lot of people have mentioned to me that I've lost weight, and, like, I appreciate that. I'm not, like, necessarily trying anything differently. Like,
so you haven't changed the way you eat or any of that?
No, I need to do that. Too much Wendy's. I eat too much Wendy's.
That's insane.
Drink too much Miller Lights. I'll tell you that.
All right, so Wendy's and Miller Lite is the ticket to getting skinny. No, I guess that just goes to it that people say, hey, playing pickleball doubles is not a workout. It absolutely is.
Oh, it absolutely is. And I mean, there were times over the summer I'd be playing, 9-10 times a week.
Damn.
Like playing twice a day, like playing in the morning, playing in the evening. Like I put pickleball first.
And I'm probably going to hate you for this answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway. As a 43-year-old guy, recovery is kind of a big deal for me. Everything hurts after a long day, after playing twice in a day.
Yeah.
Dude, do you just keep going and you push through? You don't have any recovery things or days off?
No, not really.
See, I knew I was going to hate him for it.
I mean, I find myself being sore from time to time, but I found like at that time, like last summer, like I was just so dedicated to the sport and like wanting to get better that like, I'm going to be sore. And if I think it's going to impact the way I play, then I won't play. Like I'll play in the morning. And then like, if I'm really sore, like I'll pass on the night session.
Okay.
But I also have major FOMO. Like I have major FOMO. Like I could play twice in a day and someone asks me to play at 8 o'clock at night. And all of a sudden, like, hey, I don't hurt as bad. Like I'm not as sore. Like I can go do it. Like I can play. And sometimes I regret it. Yeah. But I just focused, for me, it was more of a focus on just wanting to get better and continuing to play, whether that meant I was going to be sore or not. Like I'll probably pay for it somewhere down the line. I hope not. So fingers crossed, but I don't like, there's not much recovery.
Well, you'll be good because I know one of our future guests, which I can't wait for this conversation, is Mike Wardian.
Oh man,
dude, he's going to be a beast mode talk because he is just a freak athlete.
He's a freak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
in all the great ways.
Maybe because you're doing this in your 20s, that as you get older like him, it doesn't phase you because it's what your body's used to.
Yeah.
So maybe that'd be good.
Yeah. I hope, that'd be great. Only time will tell. But
well, I really appreciate you coming on, Ryan.
Oh, absolutely.
Dude, this is a great conversation, and I think for the people out there that are looking to get better, that want to improve their pickleball game, there's lots of coaches out there. But I think if you just start taking your game seriously, you analyze it and be thoughtful about it.
Absolutely.
And put down real goals.
Yes, tangible goals. Those matter.
And write them down.
That's right.
Write them down.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Last note is I watched your singles game against Dave McNally. Hands down one of the most entertaining, badass matches I have ever seen. The cat and mouse was ridiculous. And so I just want to tell everyone, if you haven't gone out to Four Shot and watched that Four Shot Pickleball, it is a really good match. Thank you. Kudos on your singles upswing, man. Your first singles tournament.
I appreciate that.
You got what, silver in Open?
So I got bronze.
Okay, bronze. Yep.
Man, brokers got to stop joining these things, man.
Dude, he's
Stay
a freak
in pro.
too.
Stay in pro. Let us 5-0s play singles, But yeah, so I got bronze, and that was my second tournament. But I do play that cat and mouse game, and it's a lot of fun to watch. So do check it out on David's page. For sure.
Four Shot Pickleball.
Yeah.
And man, I hope great things for you this year. I'm excited to watch what you're doing. And shout out to your mix partner as well, Allison.
Shout out
also
Allison.
Like super highly improved.
Oh, absolutely.
I just look
We're
forward
on this journey together.
Yeah.
It's just getting better, like working on getting better.
And that's what it's all about, man.
It is.
That's
well, thanks again.
About.
Thanks again for having me.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Let's go. Peace.